Can you give us a guarantee that you won't walk away again if things start to go in a way you don't like?
No, I am absolutely satisfied now that the crux of this matter has been resolved. That the work of agreeing the modalities, putting in place the legislation, taking up our responsibilities jointly to build confidence in the community on the issue of policing, I believe that that will deliver the transfer of powers on policing and justice.
Do you think that issues like the march organised in opposition to the RIR parade in Belfast, do you think that's the kind of thing that builds community among you, builds confidence among unionists?
Well, it was another very difficult issue. That there are many people who were victims of the RIR within the broad nationalist Republican community, people who felt that down the years that they never got justice, and who were in themselves, along with many others on the island of Ireland, opposed to the war in Iraq.
But was it conducted in such a way as to build confidence?
Well, I believe that the sensible decisions that were taken by Republicans in Belfast ensured that that protest passed off in a very dignified.
But there were two very nervous weeks.
Yes, it was difficult. I concede that, and I think what we have to do is hope that in the future those people who take these big decisions about having parades which could be contentious will think twice about how they present themselves.
And you will think twice as well.
Well, I think everybody has to think twice, but I mean, we even had people who came back from Afghanistan and people who came back from Iraq saying that they would have been content with a church service. So I think all of us have to be very careful going forward. We have to be very conscious of the fact that there are raw emotions out there, and I think we all have to be sensitive to each other.
You still don't have in this agreement a timetable for the devolution of policing and justice. It could be, some are saying, well over a year before that should actually happen. Would you be happy with that?
Well, I am absolutely satisfied as a result of my conversations with Peter Robinson that we have an absolute commitment from him that we will see this happen without undue delay. And we will now go through the process. And you're an experienced political commentator. You know how the work of the Assembly Executive Review Committee will take place over the course of the next period, how they will come forward with their conclusions. There is a process laid out which begins with the commencement of that work, and it has commenced this week, and ends with Peter Robinson and I requesting the transfer of powers and policing and justice.
But it could be a couple of years.
To here.
You accept that?
No, I don't accept that at all.
You've got a period of public consultation and stakeholder consultation, which themselves could take 3 to 6 months.
I believe it will happen much quicker. It will not be years, and I saw DUP sources in the paper poo-pooing that notion that it will take years, and I think it was actually them who indicated, and these are their words, not mine, that it would be months. So the main thing is that I am satisfied that we have an agreement. I intend to honour our side of the agreement. I believe that Peter Robinson will honour his side of the agreement. So let's just be content that we have resolved that issue and that we're now moving forward in a way that I think the vast majority of our people would want to see us do.
Now, in terms of Sinn Féin getting the Justice Ministry, this will all be reviewed in 2012, the cross-community election of the Minister. There will, of course, be an Assembly election in 2011. So you're saying really that you accept that the very first chance that Sinn Féin would ever have to get the Justice Ministry would be 2016, which I do believe is the year in which you said Irish unity would be delivered.
Well, you have to remember what we have is an interim arrangement agreed between us, which will last until 2012. Then that arrangement falls. We have a blank sheet of paper.
But you have an election in 2011, so you will have a minister in place for 4 or 5 years.
That doesn't present a problem whatsoever for Sinn Féin.
Right.
Because we accepted at the very beginning that people within the unionist community would find it difficult for a Sinn Féin minister, just as people within the Nationalist Republican community would find it difficult that there would be a DUP minister. So we have effectively both agreed that we would stand back from that. So we will have a minister who will be elected through cross-community support in the Assembly. Now that person will effectively be appointed as a result of that process by Sinn Féin and by the DUP. And it will last until 2012, and we will then be challenged, not just in 2012, but on the run-up to 2012. And remember, and I have said this to quite a number of people in the course of this week, a lot of water will pass under the bridge over the course of the next 3.5 years. And who knows what the situation will be at that time, and who knows what the possibilities will be.
Would you support, in the meantime, an SDLP Minister of Justice?
Well, I mean,
they say it's their due under the D'Hondt system, of course.
Well, no, under D'Hondt, only 10 ministerial positions can be appointed. We are dealing with an exceptional situation. But yes,
natural justice, they say, would give it to them. Would you support them?
No, my first preference would be to support an SDLP person, if appointed by the party, to run for that position. But I think that, like all of the other candidates who may or may not put themselves forward, that person will have to achieve cross-community support in the Assembly. But yes, my preference would be for someone from the SDLP.
Do you think it's more likely that it will be the Alliance Party?
In the course of this week, I told Mark Durkan that it obviously wasn't communicated to Alban McGuinness, who went on the Nolan show the other morning criticising my interview with Seamus McKee on Good Morning Ulster.
Where are we on the Irish language and on the maize? Are there any side deals done as a result of this agreement on policing and justice?
No, the work of government is going to continue, and all of these issues are work in progress. We saw in the course of today's executive meeting important decisions taken around alleviating the plight of people on issues like water charges, for example, where we will now save, on average, families £160 that they won't have to pay next year. We have seen
but specifically on Irish language, which you yourself have said is one of the central issues.
Let me come to that. Let me come to that. We have seen the abolition of prescription charges. We've seen the establishment of a new planning situation, which sees a better balance than the directorial ministers were prepared to introduce, and allows for development in the countryside in a very balanced way. We've seen the establishment of an education and skills authority. Some of these were very vexed issues over the course of the recent while. There are, yes, other issues like the Irish language and other matters which have to be taken forward by us, such the situation at the Long Kesh site. So I think what we have to do is move forward sensibly. And I'm satisfied as a result of the discussions I've been involved in, the negotiations that I've been involved in, that people are coming to all of these issues. But
the DUP are on record many times as saying there will be no Irish Language Act for a number of reasons, not least the expense of it.
Yeah, and I think they're also on the record as saying that they recognise the need for an Irish language strategy. So what we have to do is continue to work our way through these issues in the interests of the people that we represent. So obviously all of the answers are not going to be put out for public consumption in the course of today. This is a work in progress, and what we have to do is continue to work our way through.
Can you foresee any circumstances in any of these issues which would lead you to walk away?
Well, I knew that was the next question you were going to ask. No, I believe that we have made an honourable agreement with Peter Robinson as leader of the Democratic Unionist Party. I believe that he will honour his word, that powers on policing and justice will be transferred. I don't see any other issue out there which would see any interruptions to this executive this side of the next Assembly election. And what we are absolutely dedicated to do is to ensure the success of these institutions. Also see the resumption of the North-South Ministerial Council meetings and the participation by all ministers in all of the institutions of the Good Friday and St Andrews Agreement.
Mark McGuinness, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.